I want to take you a bit back in history, and I want us to go back to the year 1945. So it's 1945. Germany lies in ruins. Most cities are broken shells, and our industry is silent. The average German stands among rubbles and ration cards, staring at a future that seems impossible to rebuild. Yet, by 1960, this same country ranked among the 5 largest economies of the world. In less than 20 years, this nation rose from ashes to affluence. Germany went from total collapse to an economic power. It built its own future, a future of progress. So I believe there is no better place on earth to talk about the future and how to build it than in this country. Because just not long ago, Germany achieved the impossible, and we have to discuss it. It wasn't luck, though. It was the sheer will, the will of the people to move again and again, faster than despair. They call it the Wirtschaftswunder, the economic miracle. But the miracle wasn't the progress this generation achieved. The miracle was the speed at which a generation brought progress to our nation. The speed at which this country was no longer collapsing, but thriving and becoming a world power. This is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the most undervalued force shaping progress, speed. How we are slowing it down, and how we can bring it back, starting with medicine. Now, if speed can bring a nation from ruins, what else can it do? What if there is a law that governs everything that grows, including rebuilding nations? And this is what I believe in. Progress has a pulse, a natural rhythm, a simple beat, a beat that governs every act of creation. And it goes like this: learn, try, build. Learn, try, build. It is the oldest beat. It is the most powerful engine in the universe. It's how atoms forms molecules. It's how molecules became life. It's how life became ideas, how ideas became invention. Everything we are today started with something, trying, learning, and building. But there are 2 rules to this pulse. The first one, you can't skip a beat. You can't go from a single molecule to a human in one jump. You walk it, one iteration at a time. And the second rule, the pace of the beat defines life or death. We are here today because evolution was impatient. We are here today because nature refuses to slow down. Yet, for some reason, since the 1980s, we have been slowing the pulse of progress further and further. And I would like to take the next moment to tell you how we are slowing the progress in the medical field. And I think it's a great time to introduce myself. So I'm Zina Sarif. I got into cancer research in 2009. And for a decade, I lived with this rule: try, learn, build. My day-to-day life was build new anti-cancer molecules, try them, learn, rebuild again, every day, an iteration. Every failure is a move towards progress. For this entire time, I strongly believe that the only reason why we haven't been able to cure cancer was that we haven't found the right molecule yet. Until one day, I asked myself a question I should have asked it a long time ago, namely, what happens when the science is done? What happens when we found the molecule? And this is what I found. It takes 12 years and over $1 billion to get a drug into the market. So even if a molecule works, it takes us 12 years to bring it to the first patient. 12 years between the beat of discovery and the beat of delivery. Now, all of us here knows that the first draft is never our best work. Assuming that it takes us 12 years, and it's not even an assumption, I have to correct myself, if it takes us 12 years to get the first iteration of a life-saving molecule to patients, and assuming I need only 7 iterations to perfect this drug and turn it into a perfect cure, we will get there by the year 2109, not in your or my lifetime. And then you realize we have a problem in medical progress. It suffers from a severe bradycardia. The medical progress is completely slowed down. But then why? So to find out why, I left the lab. And then I entered the system that controls how we turn science into medicine. This is how it works. To turn a molecule into a medicine, you have to prove that it's safe, you are not going to kill anyone, and that's working. Fine with me. That's the job of regulations. Yet, somewhere along the way, regulations moved away from telling us what we should prove to telling us exactly how we should prove it. So instead of building an organization that tells us how we can get therapeutics to patients as soon as possible, it started dictating every move along the journey, adding more and more steps. Which means that every new rule equals new paperwork. Every new policy equals a new committee that we need an approval from. Every layer equals delay. And what started as the regulation became bureaucracy. So now we have layers over layers of ethic boards, committees, approval requests, approval contracts, and what was built to protect us is now conspiring to delay our progress. We created a system so heavy that progress can no longer breathe. In fact, 40% of those 12 years I mentioned earlier are not scientific or clinical timelines. They are purely operational drugs. Meetings, paperwork, signature requests, approval requests, and waiting. A lot of waiting. Now, what can we do about it? We can't tear down an institution that protects us, although it slows us down too. But what we can do is we can remove the drag it imposed on progress. What we can do is we can lift the weight that stands between drug discovery and drug delivery. We can lift the burden that stands between cure and the humans waiting for it. We can free the scientists from the paralysis of bureaucracy so that they can focus on what matters most, namely turning knowledge into medicine. And that's what I choose to do, to build technologies that ends the paralysis of the process, building pacemakers for medical progress. My goal is simple, shortening the 12 years timeline into 5 years. But what does this reduction of timelines means? It means that that seventh iteration we were supposed to get by the year 2109, now we can have it in 2060, within our lifetime, 35 years earlier. But it means more than that. When timelines collapse, costs collapse too. Now we can test more therapeutics for the same amount of investment. We have more shots on the goal and a higher chance to win against cancer. More shots also mean not only that we can do more, but we can get there faster. And you might wonder why. But here's what I believe. I believe humans shouldn't die of any disease we could defeat. We should only die of diseases we cannot defeat, and the only one we cannot defeat is age, today. But perhaps one day, I assume surely, we will defeat that one too. And that's what progress is. Progress is creating a future that's exponentially way better than the now. It's to restore the pulse of the speed we used to have. It's to ensure that the walls built by the careful are destroyed by the bold. Now, you might say, nice for you, Zina. You found something to work on and to fight for. What does this mean for me, right? This talk isn't about me. It's about all of us. Policies impact every aspect of our whole lives, which also means it gives opportunities to all of us to shape progress and to shape how the future will look like, the future we will all share. Progress isn't about ideas waiting for permission. Progress is about impatient people who act with urgency. Do you know? It takes 2 years to approve a construction project in Berlin. It takes 9 years to approve a renewable project in the EU. And we feel the drag. We feel it looking for housing we can't find in the city. We feel it in the climate crisis we can no longer ignore. And that's what you can do. I think we live in a generation that is fully obsessed with ideas. But I think what progress needs from us today, more than ideas, is someone who works on urgency, on free it, on speed. And whenever we talk about speed, people will tell you, speed is recklessness. How dare you? We have to protect our people. But how can we call the prosperity that a generation before us brought to us, the prosperity we indulge in, recklessness? I believe speed is a responsibility in motion. Speed is even more than that. It's our commitment to ourselves. Do we believe that we deserve a better life? Speed is our commitment to our nation and to our future. Now, how can you become an agent of speed? How can you find the next thing to work on? And the beauty about speed is, it is easy to spot where speed is violated than to come up with new ideas. We humans are super impatient by design. We hate waiting. We despise bureaucracy. We know it. Traffic jam, in the line we have to wait in life. We are told impatience is something bad. No, I strongly believe that impatience is nothing to be ashamed of. Impatience is something to be proud of. It's our human instinct. It's nature's way to remind us that movement is survival. So again, the world is full with agents for ideas, but barely with any agents for urgency. And I am here as an ambassador for urgency. And I have two asks for you. The first one, I want you to live a life refusing to be slowed down, and you know when you are. The second is, whenever the cry rises for protection, for more policies, for more safety, ask yourself, what are the consequences? Then behind every policy and every process, there is a lifeline towards the future that needs to be freed. And us freeing it means we build the future. And when we become agents of future development, we become that future. We become a generation of builders, of creators, the same like those before us who brought prosperity to us, the one we can indulge in today. Thank you.